What's going on, YouTube? We are in the house tonight with some Australian fella.
G'day.
G'day. I'm going to have
G'day.
to start up the podcast. G'day.
I'll have to dial up my Aussie accent.
Can everybody hear us okay? And we just want to do a quick check. It sounds good here. I've got my earbud podcast. You guys just leave comments below.
Yep. Can everyone hear me okay? I've got a different microphone, so I thought I might need a bit of feedback to see if you can hear me. I didn't say if you can understand me, but just if you can hear me.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. And my earbud levels are
Thanks, Brad. Awesome.
Well, we've had a rather lively chat session going on. We've already had quite a few people send over super chats, and Rob, I hate to say it, man, having a special guest like Craig must really be riling up the natives here because they are like opening their wallets. I'm not sure what Craig did or said before the show.
I think what it comes down to is bad polling numbers for Rob, and he's not polling as well as what he could be, which means maybe his position's in jeopardy. You know, but I see all the cash rolling in, and you're okay with my 25% take. You know, that's our secret deal on the side, right?
Yeah, we didn't negotiate that before we started, so we'll have to talk about that afterwards. Sure, we can work something out.
Yeah, I think Rob needs a new pollster. He needs to sack his people and get better marketing people.
That's right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen, and I apologize in advance for this horrible Photoshop. Photoshop-esque.
Who's the handsome guy on the left? Not me.
Oh man! So this is very funny now with and Rob and I have been talking about in the past about using different software, but I'm getting all these pop-ups now on YouTube that's saying that Hangouts on Air is going away. So it's good that we're going to use something new coming up. But yeah, I'll have to look into that a little more. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get started as usual. We'll go ahead and go through the podcast. We'll probably interact with the audience a little bit more tonight than we normally do because we have some topics to talk about. And we also will engage you guys in the chat room. So I will go ahead and start up the podcast now. 3, 2, 12 Volt Talk, episode 47, Old School SPL Challenge. G'day, mates. Have Craig here from
G'day.
Our Audio. What's going on, Craig?
Good morning from the future. Here it's Thursday morning in Australia. And for those that don't know me, Craig from oldschoolcaraudio.com.au. Don't forget that AU. We're on Instagram as Old School Car Audio. Facebook as Old School Car Audio. So, yeah, good to be here, Dereck.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah. So it's really hard for me to say this, but Rob is not here tonight. And there's been some issues between Rob and I. You guys probably can't tell on the podcast because we have a pretty good rapport back and forth. But yeah, Rob is replaced tonight by Craig, and I'm not sure who's going to be our guest host next week. So things just have been a little harsh lately. I'm just kidding. Right. Everything's good. Rob is on vacation this week. Sorry, had to draw up the drama a little bit. I couldn't go too long because I'm afraid Rob will be watching. He'd be like, "What did I do? Did I do something and didn't tell everybody? It didn't tell Dereck, didn't tell me." No, it's all good. So we're here tonight with Craig. Thank you so much, Craig, for joining in. I appreciate you joining, so I don't have to listen to myself talk and bore everybody.
Look, that's fine, mate. It's my pleasure. And I know there's been a few messages sent from your colleagues in the US. Who might have some trouble understanding me. So Mark Crowley is one of them. I'm going to mention Mark by name because I know he's out there listening. So, hi, Mark. Now, if I need to clap my syllables, I will. And I can speak slowly and loudly. That's no problem. But Mark will be there, and it'll be Brad and Brian, and they'll all be there having a little barbecue together, sitting there having a good old chuckle. So How's it going, guys? A big shout out to the team at Legends of Car Audio.
Yeah, we've requested that they have their translator on their phone that translates, Aussie to American English. So hopefully they'll do that so they can catch all of our words.
And there's a few Aussies on here as well. Jay, look at that. Jay, he will have his head in a car somewhere. I know the style. That will be bum up, head down, buried doing wiring, listening away. So awesome.
That's great, Jay. Thanks for joining us, and everybody else for joining us. And before we even get started, I'll go ahead and do some shout outs for the super chats. And if you guys aren't aware of what the super chats are, these are ways during our video stream that we do live on youtube.com/12etalk. It's a way that you can kind of help the show, send us a little tip, buy us a coffee is what some people say. So we've had quite a few of these super chats already. I'm going to call out Jason, Legends of Car Audio, Mark Crawley, another Jason, Rick Quattlebaum, another Jay, and then we just had Sean also send us some money. So thank you guys. We appreciate that. Rob and I are going to have a different streaming mechanism moving forward. We're actually going away from using this software. We're going to use the software that's going to allow us to do lower thirds, and we're going to be able to import other videos, and it's going to be a much more professional looking show moving forward because you guys are helping us out. We can afford the software now. So we appreciate all of your help in making this a better podcast/video stream. But since we have Craig here tonight, we're going to talk about some old school car audio. So Craig, tell us what's been going on at the old school car audio headquarters.
Well, can you hear the crickets in the background? Like the tumbleweeds? Not a lot. The last couple of months have been super busy with my other work. So, and as you know, I juggle two things. And so you haven't had a lot of time to do much at all. And it's that constant struggle about, I'm sure, is juggling family, work, your hobby, car audio, everything else, and trying to get it to one. So look, there's a few things going on. There's a couple of very exciting things going on. Some new interviews coming up shortly in different locations. I think I surprised a few people with an interview with Cartons Car Audio in Indonesia when we were over there. So I'm planning on hopefully getting some interviews shortly in Singapore, in Western Australia, and maybe in New Zealand. I'm not sure yet, but waiting on a few people to get back to me. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to just, again, getting in the heads of car audio enthusiasts and letting them tell their story, because ultimately that was the very, very beginning origins for when I started Old School Car Audio, was just to get with people and share their stories and get that inspiration happening and people listening to those, what other people are doing. They get inspired and then they go out to their garage and away they go tinkering and blowing something up, as you know. I hear you're good at blowing up Savard speakers. Rob did mention something about that to me.
I blow up nothing. I've already had them on here. We've talked about what happened. It was not Big D. Now I can blow up some Blaupunk speakers. We've seen that in the clear box. I can blow those up. But Savard, no, that wasn't me. That was Rob. He did it from afar. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Rick. Rick said he loves the interviews on the channel, and thanks, Rick. I appreciate that. It's very interesting. There's a particular audience. It's not for everyone. And a lot of feedback is, with sometimes interviews, you don't give enough of the stereo. But I guess I figure that there's so many other people that film stereos. So, I'd like to touch on it. But my point is to understand the why behind it all, and there's always a story. And when you can connect with someone's story and that resonates with you, that drives your own passion, So it's searching for that connection. What else we got going on? Well, I made some notes here before. I've got to start some stuff. I've got to start a few projects. I might be starting another one shortly, depending on this Old School SPL challenge. Now you've told me the date. I'll tell you what we have got online. We've got some new Zapco products on the online web store. Haven't listed them up yet, but will be shortly. What else? We've got... I've got Daniel's build. Rick's just reminded me here. I've got the Audi. Now I've finished the doors. I'm going to need to get time to get stuck into the into the trunk. Now that's, if you remember, that's that old, it was a 1998 Audi that had sat there for 16 years, you know. So that's really the number one focus in any spare time that I have at the moment. And we spoke to a few people about getting some other people to come around and help, put the word on the street for some additional help. So I'm hopefully getting some feedback shortly as to people who might want to come and help at the workshop. Bunch of amp repairs going on, you know, with our amp tech. There's constantly having guys ring me with blown amps that they don't want to sell. So I get these wonderful old school amps coming in, you know, and so that, you know, little bits and pieces like that. And I'm just looking at the list. What else? Yeah, look, there's some new stuff coming on the website. There is some new products that we've got, as I said, Zapco and Rainbow products coming online shortly as well. So for all those, I don't know if you'd heard of Rainbow, the German-made speakers, those mid-bass drivers that they make are fantastic. So we'll be having Rainbow products shortly once they come into the country. Just waiting on that order.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things about Rainbow. I've never heard a set myself, but they're really high quality drivers for sure. And just stepping back a little bit to your interviews, you know, one thing that drives me crazy about any demo in a vehicle is the part where I don't get any interaction with the owner, because, you know, you spend a lot of time talking, getting deep stories, but even the basic demos that just pretty much show the system and don't let the guy explain, that just drives me crazy. I'm like, you know, the guy who built this tell about his system and why he chose, you know, the Pro Audio horns right up here and why he chose the 10-inch mid bass in the doors, all that. And I really wish more people would do that and not just show the speakers flexing, because it just gets old watching speakers flex. We really need to understand the people behind the systems. I think that personal connection just really means a lot.
You know, and the other thing that you notice as well, and again, this was one of the things that I wanted to differentiate from, is it's not just filming the system, but it's that, you know, you get a lot of guys that go out there and they have the camera and they go, hey man, tell us about your system, you know, and the guy starts talking and then they flip the camera around like, hey, look at me sitting in this guy's car, and here's the expression on my face with this guy's car, and suddenly it's all about him, you know, or her. It's just like, wow, you know, lost me straight away, you know.
Yeah, the other thing too is a lot of people can be very comfortable talking to each other, but yet as soon as you hand a microphone or tell me about your system, then they're like, I've got amplifiers, I've got, you know. So what you're doing is you're making it more personable. You're having them talk about, you know, the passion part of it, and I think it makes people a lot more comfortable with the interview, which is a really good idea. It's working well.
See, man, you're still getting some money coming in.
People are still.
You're going to retire after this.
Well, now that Rob's not here, it seems like we're getting a lot more. I'm just kidding.
Know, right? Keep it coming in.
We've been doing pretty good the last few weeks. Germ Doggy Dog, thank you for the super chat. And we had one more, I think, that we didn't mention. Charles Brown, thank you as well for the super chat.
Yeah. So, Sean Bloom, Charles Brown, Jay Standerwick from Australia. Jay, awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for joining out. The funny thing that, you know, I have Craig, and I obviously need to change his location on my phone because I have his Melbourne location. So when I pull up my clock, you know, I've got Eastern Standard Time, I've got Tahiti, which is another friend. It's a different part of the world. And then I have Melbourne. So it's 12 a.m. in Melbourne. But Craig is not in Melbourne. He's in Western Australia. So it's actually 8 o'clock now, right, for you?
Man, let me check my phone. Yeah, it's 8 a.m.
8:12 a.m.
But I'll be back in Melbourne shortly. So yeah, floating around.
So it's got to be difficult, you know, because Craig mentioned earlier, and I think a lot of us who are in car audio that don't work 100% in car audio, we have a passion for it. We juggle, you know, day job and doing the extra car audio thing, but Craig is actually traveling across the country and works in one place and then has to travel back. So his time is extremely limited. But what I would say is anybody who's not seen old school car audio on YouTube, check his channel out because he's got a lot of really, really good videos, a lot of good content, and they don't have as many views as they deserve. So you need to go back and check some of his older videos and just be impressed and check out his Lincoln. Hey, speaking of that, did you ever get your Lincoln fixed after the last little mishap with the motorcycle guy?
Yeah, no, it is fixed. It's fixed, and I'm actually going to pick it up this weekend, which is awesome. And then, the only thing I need to do is put some batteries back in because I removed the right-hand battery bank to get access to that rear panel for repair. Put the batteries back in, and then I can see myself driving around deafening for just a few hours just to bump the box, as they say, get that out of your system. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait.
Awesome. That's such a beautiful car. I just cringed when I heard your story. And if people haven't heard the story, you can check our last episode where we interviewed Craig, and he told about the story of the motorcycle guy that was trying to squeeze around him and scratched his car up. Bah!
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Dummies. So, Craig, have you ever done a boosted post on Facebook?
I think I have. Yeah, I've done a couple of times, but I have, but the value in it, the algorithm and the way it works is not necessarily what would benefit me, I guess. I don't see the benefit of boosting. There are other ways, or so the experts have told me, in terms of getting a message out or your brand. So I think the results can be a bit skew-if, and they don't necessarily go to your audience or whatever you define your audience as. What are your thoughts like?
Well, I've been requested many times before to boost my posts and never really done it. I think Rob did it before too and kind of had the same experience you did, but I was like, I'll just try it, like throw $20 US dollars into it just to see what kind of results I can get. But they held on to it for like a day to approve the ad. But the really neat thing about it, and I guess what a lot of people who don't understand how Facebook works, all the data they gather from you, when I went to place this ad, it asked, choose your target audience or let them choose it. So I got to choose my target audience. I said male between 18 and 50 that enjoyed automobiles, that enjoyed consumer electronics, that enjoyed audio sound systems. I mean, you could get really detailed. You could even choose specific areas of the country or of the world to target.
That's right. Correct.
It's just so like, wow, they've got a lot of data on people. So I chose an area that I thought would hopefully benefit me. And then the ad pretty much just takes you to one of my videos, and it's got some affiliate links to buy some stuff off of Amazon and eBay. But I figured it's $20. I'll try it. If I can get an extra couple hundred subscribers and maybe a few people buying stuff, it'd be worth it. But
yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully by next week I'll have some data and I can report back to see if it works.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see that. I mean, some of the things that I've got some help there. We've got some really creative younger people that sort of sit in the background who I use to help out with social media and with the guidance, and produce some reports. It's really interesting. But for me, it's always been about, I hate the word organic, but I'm going to say that organic growth where, it's didn't really set out to have lots of likes or set out with a goal to have, so many, I call it vanity likes or vanity clicks. You want, so when I look at my demographic now, if I look at a report, literally I've ticked the box on exactly what, so I have, it's men, it's 18 to like 45, I think, 100%, like the metric is so solid. It's not 99%, it's 100%. So that's your 100% your target market or your audience, the people that want to hear from you, which is really fascinating. So I kind of didn't want to go and buy or boost posts to skew those results, because then you get a whole mix of other people that, again, the vanity clicks, I'll click to have a look, and then that gives you a really weird metric. Having said that, we've done boosted posts when there's been something that you want to spread outside your audience, like a Christmas giveaway. I think we did a paid post and advertising for that. And strangely enough, the person who won that lived in Hawaii. So we ended up shipping $1,400 worth of car audio to Hawaii, which was, I thought it was awesome. Like whoever, they had a great system. So, but yeah, like it's, there's a couple of things we will boost. So if we're doing competitions or something like that, and again, the competition scene in Australia is, I won't say it's dead. It occasionally has a heartbeat, occasionally, but it's, if we're doing something like that, then sure, you get on because you want to have a wider audience, wider market. But
yeah, I think like I've said before, even with when we interviewed EXO, and we talked about a lot of his viral videos that he had, and the huge spike in subscribers, and how you feel about that, and I kind of feel that the organic growth of your channel is much more important to have an audience who is engaged, who
100%,
who's going to come back every week and watch, because it doesn't do you good to get 2,000 subscribers that just watch one video and never come back and watch you again. Because the subscriber number really doesn't mean that much. It's the number of views that you get, the engagement of the community, the people that normally come every week, that kind of thing. That's what's important. And if you try to do little tricks like buy clicks and do other things like this, you really in some ways can get people that you don't want. But the way I saw it was, since I targeted that specific audience, there's probably a lot of people that don't know about my channel and maybe don't remember Savard speakers from back in the 80s, and hey, those guys are still around, so I figured I'll just try it. But I'll report back and let everybody know how it works.
Talk about Savard, right? Savard, I don't think ever made it to Australia. Like, there was heaps of brands. Well, why would you? I mean, the market is, not that huge. So for those listening in the US, a bit of a reality check. What's the population in the US at the moment? 280 million, 300 million people. I think it's, so we'll call it 280 million. The population of Australia is only 10% of that. We're only like 25 million, 28 million. So out of that 28 million people, let's say 1% are car audio fans, people that'll invest money in car audio. So you're down to, less than 100,000 or so people around Australia. So it's a very, very saturated market, low volume, low numbers, and everyone competing in the same airspace. Lots of noise, very small group. So Savard, I don't think ever came. But man, look at that cash rolling in. Look at it. Fantastic. I'm just looking at the comments off to the side for those on the podcast. And Rob, High Five Vega, your poll numbers are so down, buddy. I don't know what you're doing, but sack your people, because the money's rolling in for Big D here tonight. That is awesome, mate.
Rob, you didn't hear before you joined that Craig, he kind of weaseled his way into the cut tonight.
Absolutely,
so, yeah. Sorry, man. But before we go any further, super chats from Daryl, Joaquin, and John. Thank you guys for hitting us up with the super chats. We greatly appreciate this support. Absolutely, so appreciate this support. So we have got a topic tonight that Rob and I have been talking about for a while, and it's kind of related to the $150 SPL challenge. And Craig, I don't know, I know you've been busy, and I know if you watched any of that to see kind of what was going on with that.
Oh yeah.
So the whole premise behind that was, you're trying to find a way to get people involved, but yet not, break the bank. Say, here, $150, you can get into car audio sound competition or whatever. Well, Rob and I talked about it, and I said, there's got to be a way that we can get the old school guys involved too. So we went back and forth and we made some posts on Facebook and got everything kind of narrowed down. And I know some people are not going to like some of the things I've set up. And some people say, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. There's no way that we can make everybody happy. But I'll just tell you about it. And after Craig and I talk about it tonight, we'll post it on Facebook under the Old School Stereo page. That way everybody can see what's going on and what the dates are and all that. But basically, what we're looking to do is to have an old school SPL challenge. And I've broken it down into 5 different classes. And I guess the best thing for me to do would be to share my screen so people can see this that are watching online. This is a document that we normally share when we do the podcast. But here you can see we break it down into kind of 5 classes, and it goes back to the old school days of IASCA here in the U.S. where they had wattage classes based on 4 ohms, 0 to 50 watts, 51 to 100, 101 to 250, 250 to 500. Oh, that would be 251 to 500. Sorry. And then the last class is a 251 to 500 walled. So it's really 5 separate classes. And we thought about, man, this will be a real cool way to get people to use these old school cheater amps. And so here's the idea. The walled class, so if you've only got 2 speakers and you wall it off and you've only got a 50 watt amp, you're going to be in the last class, because walled gives you an advantage anyway of the SPL. So that's one of the caveats. But Craig, what do you think about our decision to do this old school challenge based on the 4 ohm stereo power?
Well, that's a good question. Why not? I mean, I think you need to put some boundaries around it. And I think in terms of the old school amps, if you remember, I think it was MTX came out with the first 2 ohm stable amp back in the 90s. So I think you're on the money with saying 4 ohm stereo. That'll only give you, you're not going to start getting half ohm stuff unless you've got the 225. I think that was the only red amp that went to half ohm stable, wasn't it? Or was it only 1 ohm stable? I keep forgetting this.
Yeah, the red one was 1 ohm. The black one, the 225 HO, was half ohm. But so anyway, the classes, what we're doing is we're allowing people to cheat, because we're basing the class on the 4 ohm stereo rating of the amplifier, or 4 ohm mono if it's a mono amp. But we do. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Dereck, you said my middle name, cheat. See, now what you might want to remember, just as a bit of a side, and come back to you in a minute, is us Australians know how to cheat. We do it really well. In fact, the whole country was based on thieves. We all got exported. We're all criminals. We all got exported from the United Kingdom or Great Britain. So we can cheat. I'm all in. I'm in.
Well, we did the same thing, right? We're cheaters too. So hey, we're in the same boat, man, just different parts of the world. But some of the things that people brought up right off the bat is things like, the Orion Concept 97.3. Okay, so these came out in 1997, and the whole premise of these amps was to kind of abolish the whole old rating mechanism of the power classes. These are rated half a watt per channel times 2. So each one of these amps is 1 watt at 4 ohms is what they're rated. So these 4 amps together would be 4 watts according to our little challenge here. So somebody who's got access to concept amps and can get 50 of them, you can use 50 of these in your 50 watt and under class.
I was just thinking, when I saw that promo and I saw your 4 amps there, I went, I don't think you own 4 97.3 concepts, but I know someone who owns 6 of them. Oh, that's me. So does that mean I've got 6 watts of power to play with?
Yes, it does.
All right. So are we extending this to have it? Is it for old school? Because really, these amps aren't designed to drive modern subwoofers. So you're really going to have to use an older sub as well. So I like that. It kind of adds a bit of, complexity to it. It helps sort of put it in the box a bit more,
Well, it forces you to modify your thought from having unlimited amount of power, unlimited amount of electrical, Electrical doesn't matter in most of these cases unless you've got, many of the high current amps at the same time. But again, we thought, what the heck? It's just for fun. It doesn't matter. Somebody sure is going to come up with 10 or 15 of these and blow everybody out of the 50-watt, class. But that's fine. It's cool. It's just for fun. And so people were saying, well, you should do some of the under 50-watt class for not cheater amps, for just regular amps. And I'm like, well, I can understand it would be neat to do like a Punch 45 challenge or an Orion 225 HCCA challenge. And who's to say we won't do that in the future? I think that's a really cool idea.
I like it.
But for this time, we just thought, let's do it so as many people can get involved as possible. The biggest restriction we have, other than the wattage classes, are the year the amplifier has to be manufactured. And we went back and forth on this a lot because I wanted to go, I wanted to go like year 2000 and earlier. Rob wanted to go with no restriction on the year of the amp.
Rob. This is why Rob's poll numbers are down, Derek. I got to tell you. It's those sort of comments that, come on, Rob. Really? It's got to be 2000 and under. Come on.
You can see why he said that because, since 2000, there's not been a lot of cheater amps anyway. So he's like, you can use a brand new amp, you're not going to really benefit because who underrates amps anymore? They're either rated right at what they do or there's been no cheater amp since like 2006 or 7. Yeah. So
what about meeting it? What about halfway? What about a 2005 cutoff? What did you end up deciding with Rob?
That's it. 2005 or older is our cutoff.
Perfect. Yeah.
And the one thing about 2005, which I didn't put in my document because I've got some pictures of amps and I've got some models just so people can let things run through their head. And I've already warned Brad. And if you have some on your site too, these guys are going to be interested in buying some of these amps. So might see an uptick in some of the prices going up here. Not because of anything that we're doing. But 2005 and older. And we also, when we in the post, we talked about, people said, well, we should do sound quality, not SPL. And it's too subjective to do anything sound quality. We don't have judges, and that would just be too much work. So then I posted about, hey, are any of the local car audio shops interested in either donating, SPL time with their meters or, giving like a discounted rate for guys that want to measure their systems? Because not everybody can afford, even the cheap mini SPL meters are $250 US dollars. And the nicer ones are $300, $400, $500, and the Term Lab can be as much as $800 or $900. So not everybody can afford that. So I thought that it would be a good way to get people out to their local shops if the shops would allow them to do this, and say, well, we got some of this stuff inside that might work better in your system. So it would be helpful for everybody. Plus you get to meet your local shop. Maybe you haven't talked to them in a while, find out things that they do. So we do have some already that are willing to jump on, and hopefully we can get us kind of a worldwide network of shops, not just in the US, across the world that can do that.
That's awesome. Hey, I'll tell you a story about talking about going to a local car audio shop and having that conversation, because it's fascinating, the people you meet. There's a couple of shops in Australia that still have guys that run them who have, been there for decades. But I bumped into a guy the other day. I won't mention the store. Turns out I think he was I could be wrong. I'm going to upset some people here, but I'm pretty sure he was American and not Canadian. Anyway, just a bit of local chit chat. Turns out this guy used to run a store in the US and he used to sell Dr. Frankenstein stuff. Like that was the brand, and he knew all about it. All he could talk about was Eminem and Dr. Frankenstein and all this great stuff so I was sat, what was going to be a 5-minute in and out of the store, I was sitting there for 45 minutes. But, going back to what you're saying, when people go and have those conversations with, local stores, you'll find people that'll just pop up, and then it's that conversation that then starts something like getting them on board to help, act as the source of reference to measure people's cars for the competition. So that's a great idea, especially in the US. There'll be tons of stores that get involved.
Yeah, we have a lot of old school guys here that kind of like everybody else. You go through phases in your life. You enjoy skateboarding or riding a bike or whatever when you're younger, and then you grow up and you do other things, and you like to go fishing and whatever. But I think if you were ever in car audio, you still have that. Still have that bug, right? It never gets out of your system. So something like this, where you can entice people that, oh, I do have that old 50HC sitting in my closet. I'm going to dust it off real quick. So the only bad thing about this is, I wonder how many amps we're going to blow up.
That adds a lot of excitement to it. I'm all for it. I've got a whole bunch of amps that haven't actually been used or overhauled yet. That'd be great to pull them out off the rack and just hook them up and see how many go bang.
Craig, I've been really shocked with the amount of amplifiers that I've tested on the amp dyno, and as many old school amps as I've tested, and as few that have had issues. I mean, and a lot of them never had any work done to them, and they still work fine after 30 years and do rated power and more. So
build quality.
Yep. So it's a good
and I don't say that trying to, be, I guess, problematic or inflammatory, because, there's a lot of new amps are really good, but nothing, not saying nothing, most things are not built to be repaired. Most of that mainstream car audio product is churned out. The boards are so compact, the parts are so tiny. It's cost prohibitive to try and take that and repair it. It's actually cheaper to just go and buy another one. Now, I'm not saying anything that's controversial there, because our whole market is built on the throwaway society. Everything is so cheap. Certain products are so cheap that you just go out and buy another one. So I'm not surprised when you say that, they hold their own, because they were built to be maintained. They were built to have things that could be replaced, because a lot of the makers were bespoke makers. They were startups. They were, small companies that had big brand presence, but the actual company was maybe only 40 people, So yeah, that's something to remember, I think, for a lot of the old school amps.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. So I'll go through a few more of the little details, and again, I'll post a link in the video description of this video so you guys can go to the oldschoolstereo.com page, which I haven't updated in forever, but I will put this information there so you guys can see it. Craig can put it somewhere on his site if he wants to, so people can see it. We'll also have a Facebook group. We found it's much easier to try to manage a Facebook group than it is to try to manage a forum somewhere or something like that. So we'll have all the details in the Facebook group as well. And hopefully we can get everybody to upload their videos to YouTube so that we can actually use the content and make a video at the very end. The whole idea is we're going to start this pretty much now. You can go ahead and get your stuff ready. We're going to end it late in October, so you have plenty of time to up your system, tweak it, tune it, play with it, all that good stuff. But back to the measurements, we talked about a little bit about SPL meters. We can't use just your cell phone that's got the built-in SPL meter. You have to use TermLab, SSA APM2. SPL Lab makes a lot of pressure sensor meters. If you have any questions about the specific one, we've had people ask about using audio control and using the microphones. We're going to stay away from the microphones just to keep everything as equal as possible and use pressure sensors. And we've also decided to only use windshield score. So you have to put the meter on the windshield. The 100%. Doors, windows have to be up, closed and up. We're not doing any opening, no outlaw. This is all sealed up. The whole entire vehicle has to be sealed up. And yeah, we'll see what kind of numbers people can get. There's no restriction with the number of subwoofers, the size, any of that. You can hook up your 50-watt amp to 25 15s if you want to. That's the fun about this. What can people really do with low power?
Except I'm going to cheat.
They're going to cheat with 1,000-watt amps that are rated for 1 watt.
I'm going to cheat.
Okay.
Well, actually, we could really cheat, and we could swap some boards out from some Sound Digital amps and put them in an Orion chassis, and Oh, look at that! I'm doing 12K. Wow.
Now, if you clamp 12K from an Orion amp from 2005
Hey,
or older, we're going to know that you're doing something wrong.
don't be a hater, man. I know you're not a big fan of Orion. Now, see if Rob was here. If Rob was here. Well, that's funny because talking about old school amps and this challenge. Are you actually gonna participate in this? Is this something you got time to do? Because I'm feeling kind of inspired that I feel almost there's a challenge here. Like
Yeah,
I can set myself up
so
against you guys.
I feel that that Rob and I will participate, but we won't fit into the scores because we don't. We're going to try to get some vendors to give away prizes and
Yeah.
things like that. So we're not going to be in there too. We'll post all of our stuff, but even if we win, we're not going to say anything. But yeah, we're up for a challenge if you want to.
All right. I think this is going to happen. All right, I have to put my mind to it. The hardest decision is which amplifier will I use, how many of them, and how many of those, and how many old school subs and which type. So I've got a couple of ideas bouncing around. Yeah, this could be fun.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what people come up with. And that was the whole thing, to get people excited about using some of their old gear, because most of the times we're like, the stuff is pretty mounted on the wall. I take it down occasionally and put it on the bench and play with it, but I don't put it in my car and use it every day. This will be a good way to just bring some nostalgia back to life.
I think for this, you're not happy. You're happy with aesthetics. It doesn't have to be pretty; just has to function, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that opens it up to all the hobbyists, people that just want to throw a box together, put an amp in, and get a measurement, and use the old school equipment again. I think if you challenge someone to make it look pretty as well, and maybe people got the time, but if you're like me at the moment, not having a lot of time, it's a good thing to just be able to knock something up in a day. It'd be great.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I've got a couple pictures for those who are watching us here on the stream. I know if you're listening to the podcast, you're missing out a little bit here, and I apologize. But I've got some examples I just want to kind of go through real quick. Like right here is the Mats D100HC. If you look at the 4 ohm load, this one's rated 200 watts at 4 ohms. So this will be a 200 watt amp in our challenge. And although it does 1200 watts at 0.67, so that's a cheater, if you want to say, as far as a monoblock amp goes. You guys are pretty much aware of the Orion 225 HCCA, the MTX Terminator MTA 225, Crunch 50 HC. All these are cheater amps. These are all 50 watt amps according to the challenge. So it gives you lots of ideas. VLX 25 here is a super cheater because it's rated 12.5 watts by 2. This one is only second to Craig's concepts, because the concepts are rated at half a watt per channel. These are rated 12.5, and they're really about 100 watts per channel. So very underrated. And the Planet Audio P225HC is another one that's pretty good.
Yeah, look at those.
There's some other ones. Phoenix Gold MPS 2240, 2220, Audio Art 50HC. Soundstream has got several. They have the Class A 3.0, Class A 6.0. Memphis has a HC50, and there's the Crunch amp again. Obviously, Hyphonics has a Ulysses that's rated for 50 watts, 25 by 2. They have the Isis that's rated. What is the Isis rated? Is it rated 100 by 2? No, the Isis is 50 by 2. The Ulysses is 25 by 2. Soundstream Class A 100, that's a 50 by 2 amp, so that's a 100 watt amp. MTX Terminator MTA 225, there's the Concepts. Here's another one of the favorites, the Lanzar 50C. These were 50 watt amps for the challenge because they're 25 by 2.
Wow, there's not many of them around.
No, there's not. Precision Power, the ProMOS series, those are cheater amps. There's a Phoenix Gold, the more Orion, US Amps, VLX 50. Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of options that that you guys can choose for this, or you can just use a Punch 45 if you want to.
So, do you remember dynoing the Orion 2250? And you remember the disappointment you had for what was essentially a 1,000-watt amp, and I think you only ever got 800 watts out of it. Would that be about right?
The 2250,
2250, the beast.
I think at 1 kilohertz it did right at 900 watts.
Yeah. So that amp I have in my Jeep Wrangler, and for those who are on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and all other social platforms, seen pictures of the Jeep. It's a full old school Orion amplifier system, and that is meant to run the substage. So I've already got this amp mounted, ready to go. So that could actually be an interesting one to try and test. But interestingly enough, the Concept 97.3 is just a 2250 with a shiny chrome chassis. So, you know, for the half a watt per channel, 1 watt at 4 ohms, I know I'm going to call it a conservative 800 watts. Right? So, food for thought.
Cheating 101.
Cheating 101, but the Jeep's not the car to do it in. The Jeep's not the car. I might have to have a chat with Jay Standerwick. He's got the small car, the hatch.
CRX in the house.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
October will give plenty of time for people to get out into their garages. We're only in June now, so yeah.
Yeah, the whole idea is we do our fall old school stereo meet in Texas at the end of October. It's like the second to the last weekend of October. And we thought it would be cool to have the challenge in like right after that. So if there's anybody who wants to come to the Texas meet, which is just south, it's like 30 or 45 minutes south of Dallas, Texas. You can have your car metered there the day that we have the show and whatever. But yeah, it gives you plenty of time to think about what you want to do and test some stuff out and just play around, blow some stuff up and have it sent off and get it fixed. I know the technicians here in the US are busy fixing amplifiers, but maybe we can find us a little spot where we can slide in and get some extra help for blown amplifiers. But anyway,
I'm looking forward to the challenge. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Sounds fun. I think it would be a good way to get the community together. Like I said, people who, haven't been around car audio in a while and just hear about it. Hopefully they'll dust some stuff off and try it out. Yeah, the audio art 100HC, Robert Van Hoy in the chat mentioned that, and that's one that was on my list that I didn't have a picture of right here. But the audio art 100HC is a killer cheater amp. It's about 1,100 watts at 1 ohm, and it would fit into the 100 watt class here because it's 50 watts by 2 at 4 ohms.
Yeah.
So there's
you can maybe you can use some of your Rockville stuff. Yeah. Oh no, that's not old school, is it? I hear that performs really well. I thought you couldn't go another week without mentioning Rockville.
So we're still trying to get those guys on the show, and maybe we will get them on. Maybe they'll join us. They've been putting out some videos, but they've not been car audio related videos lately. It's been some pro audio, home audio stuff. But Craig asked me before the show if I could just give him like a 20,000 foot view of kind of what happened, because I'm not sure. Maybe some people listening here don't know the whole Rockville story. So I'll give you just a very quick overview of what happened. So I talked with Bruce EXO Contralto many months ago when I had first bought some of the K9 subwoofers from Rockville, because EXO did a video about a year ago and he got like 1 million views on his video. The Rockville K9 subs were just, for the money, it was like, wow, that is a crazy good subwoofer for the money. Well, he did his video, and then like just a few weeks later, he started having people who bought them, who had them installed, started having problems with them blowing up, and had all kind of issues that not over the rated power. So he looked into it some more and started playing around with his some more, and then his blew. So he had to make a follow-up video saying, these have some issues. So he went to Rockville and let Rockville know. And Rockville, we found out that the glue that we used was not high temperature enough. We're gonna remake them. We're gonna make better glue, all that stuff. So almost a year later, probably 8 or 9 months later, they came out with the version 2 of the K9. Same price, $115 for a 12-inch, shipped to your door, which is insanely cheap for the subwoofer driver that it was. Cast aluminum basket, huge magnet, 3-inch, I think 3-inch voice coil, a lot of X-Max, just a great looking driver. So EXO and I both had them, and we had some issues with our videos as we had things come up. We had challenges getting our videos done, but we finally got our videos done, and I talked to him and I was like, yeah, it did okay. I blew it up, but I fed it a lot of power for 2 or 3 minutes and it blew up. He's like, dude, I had the same problem that we had the first time. I'm like, oh, you did? So I had to modify my video a little bit because he had so many issues with his playing a song for about, what was it, a minute or 2 minutes, just playing a song, and it blew it up, not even at rated power. So he starts off his video with this, oh no, it did it again. And he shows the difference between the version 1, the version 2, and all that, and pretty much just blows them out of the water. And they come back after his video saying, oh, he tested it wrong. You don't test with the song. No subwoofer can handle this RMS power.
Right, okay.
And then he had Sundown come out with a video showing their sub would handle rated power. EMF Audio did the same thing with theirs. And then even Rockville did a follow-up video, a live stream. And they said, we're going to show you this Sundown subwoofer blows up at RMS power.
And it didn't run.
They run it at 750 watts, 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
Bob, it's not blown yet, Bob. I need more gain, Bob. Yeah, it was just so embarrassing. Just, oh my gosh.
Sometimes you need to, yeah, that's interesting. You need to let it go. I didn't really follow it. I kind of just tuned into a bit of it. It's not really my thing. But I did see Bear Vids in the UK was doing a video. He's tested a Rockville amp, and he's posting. I won't say what the results were. You want to check it out, go over and see Bear Vids on YouTube, BAREVIDS, I think he is. I really enjoy that guy's videos. Very technically astute young guy, like right on top of his amp repairs. Anyway, but I had a look at it, and my take on this whole thing, right, and I appreciate the 20,000 foot view too. That's very helpful. I didn't understand the full context of the situation, but my take on it was that could have been anyone. Like, and I don't think it's about the brand, but the brand didn't do themselves any favors in the way they approached their response to their audience, their marketing. Sometimes authenticity beats brand marketing. Sometimes putting your hand up and saying, hey, we've got a problem and we're going to fix it. And thank you for highlighting that problem. If that was the response, that would have been much better received, and people would have more brand confidence in Rockville. But to approach it with that defensive mentality and then to try and drag other brands in it's like marketing 101 from the 1970s. And it is, I was astounded that would be the approach. And that says more about the brand and the values, the core values that sit behind a brand. So it's their fault that they're in the position that they're in. And it could have been solved with a simple comment that is, hey, you know what? We've got this problem, and thank you to all the people who've pointed it out to us. And, we want to show you guys our appreciation, and blah, 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 and along that line, and just take it on the chin. That's it. Problem solved. That's remarkable.
So well said, Craig. I mean, that is 100%. If they would have done that, their sales would have gone through the roof.
Yeah, because people then have trust.
Yes.
It's because, hey, those guys, you know what? They messed up. They put their hand up. It's just like you and I, right? You've sold some stuff in the past. I've got an online web store. If I sold something, an old school amp, And I get all my amps tested now before I send them out the door. It takes a little bit of video and I save it in a folder. If I send an amplifier out that's busted, it doesn't work, and some guy complains, I'd feel really bad about that, and I get straight onto it and fix the problem, whether it's refund, send them whatever. And I've had it once or twice, that's life. You sell a few things, that sort of thing. But you got to, yeah, it was remarkable. So the point I wanted to make is that could have been any brand. That could have been any brand that imports gear and puts their badge on it. Because let's face it, there's that mainstream audio product that is made in factory XYZ in China or wherever, and you just, what color do you want, what heatsink design do you want, what power rating do you want, and what's your brand logo, and we just design it and churn it out. Subwoofers, and that's okay. That's okay. If that's your market, plenty of brands do it. The thing is, that could have been anyone. That could have, and I'm not going to use brand names, but I'll use some generic brand names like, big players. That could have been an Alpine, could have been a Clarion, it could have been a Pioneer, it could have been a Rockford Fosgate, right? That could have been any of those guys. It was the response. It was like marketing fail. So yeah, I reckon there's a lesson learned there for everyone watching who's in the game, to say, might want to think about how I represent my brand.
Yeah, and especially with somebody as likable as EXO. I mean, he's got a huge following, and he's got a very passionate following. And I think if Rockville maybe understood the time that he put into the video and the testing and all the details he went through, this wasn't just a jab. I think they kind of took it as, hey, he's stabbing at us for our product and making us look bad. But like you said, in the future, maybe they should send him the speaker beforehand and say, hey, do you mind? I'll pay you $500. Do you mind doing some extensive testing and tell us, what do you think it should be rated at or whatever? Because the excuses of, oh, this is CEA and you rate it to match the amp and realize there's going to be impedance rise. You're never going to see that much power. And it's like every time you talk, it just gets deeper and deeper. And what you said is so true. And it's so true about everything. If you man up and just say, look, I made a mistake, I'll make it better. Thanks for buying our product. We'll do better. That would have just, man, that was an opportunity that was lost.
See, so I think, I'm not sure how it's said, but I think Mark at Car Audio Fab, he is the spokesman for audio control effectively. And I like that because it's kind of at that arm's reach level. It's not audio control sitting in front of their own product telling you how good it is. It's kind of that arm's reach third party. And he's obviously, there's a commercial relationship there, obviously. But I like that. I like that authenticity that it brings as well, And they do make great products as well, which is that helps.
They really do. I think it's great for a lot of these companies to, they need to utilize the community and utilize the people who are out there making videos or making content.
Yeah.
Get feedback. Like, I don't care if somebody sends me something like Rockville or Alpine or Rockford or whoever says, hey, we're sending you this, just bang around with it, whatever you want to do with it. But I don't like this expectation of, hey, we're going to send you a 12-inch 500-watt subwoofer. We need you to do a video. No, I don't do that. When I get something, if they do send it, most of the time I buy things. There are sometimes companies send me things because I'm like, I'm not interested in buying your product, so I'm not going to make a video about it. If you want to send it to me, I'll try it. If I like it, I'll make a video, whatever. But, I don't like this, feeling like I can't stay authentic to what, the type of content I want to make and to be truthful to the viewers. But somebody like Rockville, they lost the opportunity here of getting the feedback. Of course, they would obviously would have wanted EXO to provide them this data before he goes live with it. But there's another aspect of this too, Craig, that I think a lot of people don't think about. Rob and I've talked about this before. but it's the boss mentality. Any advertisement is good advertisement. How many people have heard that name Rockville over the past month and a half that have never heard it before?
Yeah, there's a valid point. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Although,
not connotation, but they've heard the name.
yeah, I don't know. And that all comes back to core values, I think, as to how you want your brand represented and remembered. And, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing for them. But, well, anything that raises the awareness of car audio, there's a pretty bland statement from me. Anything that raises the awareness of car audio, awesome. You know what? It's a great thing to get into. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really think your comment though about the way you think it should be handled is spot on. That's just something that we didn't talk about before, but that's great. Real quick, super chats. KM Corkle, Keith, thank you, and OG Airbender, thank you for sending us some greenbacks here to help out with the podcast. We appreciate it. So we're getting close to the hour, and I know Craig had an announcement he wanted to make about his website. So, Craig, I'm going to let you go ahead and do that, and I'll share your website here so people can see it.
Champion, right. So what we've been trying to do is I've slowly but surely got a fair bit of the old school gear online now. So in our shop category, and Dereck's showing that now, we got new car audio and we got old car audio. When you go to the old school car audio section, we've split up our products. You've got amps, you've got speakers. I couldn't help myself. I put a picture of waveguides on as speakers, and other miscellaneous being fuses and all old school kind of gear that we've had. So pricing is on there. Now, a couple of things to remember for those guys in the USA. That is Australian dollar pricing. So at the moment, now is the time to buy in Australia, because for 68 cents US, you'll get $1 worth of value. The Aussie dollar is that bad against the greenback. So now's a great time for US buyers to look international. So just remember, every price you see there, okay, multiply it by 0.68, and that'll give you the US dollar pricing. So what we wanted to do for all the people that watch and listen to 12 Volt Talk, if you put this code in, so if you put in 12 Volt Talk, like 12V Talk, as a discount code, if you go and you want to buy something, there's a discount code section as a coupon when you check out on the website. Put in 12 Volt Talk, you'll get a 15% discount on anything that is currently listed. There's only one caveat to that, and that's a minimum spend of $100. Now that's 100 Aussie dollars, so that's 68 US dollars. Okay, so and that's if you're going to spend $68 US or more. 15% discount, put the code in, and it'll automatically calculate it when you check out. Now that only to 12 Volt Talk subscribers, of course. Just punch the code in, guys. It'll work, and that'll run to the end of July for all your listeners. So yeah, thought I'd give everyone an opportunity. Go and buy yourself an old school amp for the old school SPL challenge.
It's very kind of you, Craig. Thanks for that. And just so people have an idea, what would be, say, like if I bought this Punch 75 HD, what is a standard shipping charge to the US in US dollars?
Yes. So what I tried to do was make it easier. I've sold a lot to the US, and I've sold a lot to one guy in the US, Brian. I won't say his last name, but Brian, I remember the first time Brian hit me up about shipping to America. He goes, "Oh man, that's really expensive." And I said, "Well, hang on, don't forget that's Australian dollars." So roughly, it's about anything from say 3 to 6 kilograms. The size of a hefty amplifier, for example, might be 6 kilos. So a small amplifier, maybe 3 kilos. You could probably do that for 100 Australian dollars. It's about 68 US with some insurance on it. Now, when you take into consideration packing materials, the time it takes to pack, whatever, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, print the labels, get it all, run it down the post office or courier. I use Australia Post. That's the cheapest way to get anything to the US. I've tried DHL. We don't FedEx. When it works the other way from Australia to the US, you pay like 4 times as much. All right. So For me to DHL, FedEx, or UPS, right, it might cost $300 Australian. So if I use our USPS, which is Australia Post, it's about $100. So budget around 68 US to 70 US dollars for a standard item. If you buy more, you can get more in the box. But what I generally do is when it comes to a big order, people sometimes don't have confidence buying on the website through the, some people aren't familiar. They don't know, will it get to me? I don't know. Just send me a message. Tell me what you want. I'll work it out. And what I usually do with postage too is if people aren't comfortable paying a bulk rate, so on the website, I try to just put it into 3 or 4 categories. There's small, medium, large, and extra large. It's for costing purposes. What I like to do, if some people don't want to do that, just send me a message. Tell me what you want to buy. I'll go down and post it. I'll get a price, and I'll charge you whatever the price is and photograph the receipt and send it to you and just pay me. I'm easy. I don't do, it's not like I'm selling thousands of items of old school gear, so you've got time.
Well, all I've got to say is the bait and switch here is strong, because I see an Orion 2100 HCCA when I go to Old School Amps, and I don't see any when I go to the page. So bait and switch, Craig. Come on, core value, man. What's up with that?
They're all on the wall, and everything's for sale. But some people might not want to pay the price for those red amps, because every one of those red amps that I own, which I think, I don't know, I have 15 or 16 or however many I have, they've all been through the hands of an amp tech in the US and been sent here, and they're fully recapped. So by the time I get them, I've bought the amp, I've paid the postage, I've had them recapped, serviced, and then bolted them to my wall. So they're probably running at about $1,200 US worth of value.
Yeah.
So happy to sell them, but I don't think anyone's going to pay $1,200.
Yeah, I'm going to need 6 of those 97 threes, so we'll have to work out a deal.
Yeah, after the old school challenge.
Next time that you're on here, all the super chats can go to you. How about that?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll have to work on my marketing or something. But yeah, this is good. I want to see a graph like your normal let's say the normal income, the normal super chats when yourself and your poor cousin's on, Rob, and they'll come on and whoop, goes up. Oh, laugh. That's brilliant.
We've got
We're only messing with you, Rob. We're only messing, mate.
Yeah, a great community out there that's hardcore, watch us every week. If they can't watch us live, they watch us afterwards or listen to us on the podcast. We do appreciate everybody who's able to join us. This is a 3rd job or 4th job for Rob and I. We do it because we love it. We have awesome guests here, co-hosts like Craig and Ed Lester and other people who join us, when they can and help out. And we greatly appreciate you guys offering up your time here to join us and helping us out, because people don't want to hear me talk for an hour. They want to hear some Aussie English, even if they have to have a pocket translator. But anyway, Craig's got a mouthful of drink there. So
pocket translator. Mark Crowley needs a pocket translator.
Is there anything else in closing, Craig, you want to say before I shoot us? I'll obviously tell people go to your oldschoolcaraudio.com.au website. I'll leave a link in the video description below. We also have a link to the Old School Car Audio YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to his page. Go through and watch his old videos. Craig's probably not going to have the volume that he's had in the past because of his other because of busy life. Got other important things going on right now. But check out his old videos. He's got some fantastic content. And like I said before, the views there, he deserves so much more. So great quality. Rob and I have said before, it's TV quality. It's really stuff that could be used on Discovery Channel. He puts a lot of time and effort into the videos, and it shows. And we think you should get some more love. So, Craig, anything else you wanted to say?
No, mate. Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure. And the pre and after chats are always the fun bit because have a great laugh. But thanks for all your listeners out there. As I said, guys, get involved in the Old School SPL challenge. because I think what I'll have to do is get some videos happening about doing little builds and save them all up and batch them over to you. But yeah, the old school SPL challenge, you've got till October to get you together. Get out there, crank those old amps, blow the dust off your amplifiers, find some old school subs and go for broke. Yeah.
There you go. Sounds great. Well, everybody who's listening to this on the podcast, make sure you check us out at youtube.com/12etalk. Because as Craig just mentioned, we have a kind of a pre-show deal, and we also have an after-show deal where we engage the audience. Let these guys know. Thank you, Legends of Car Audio and John Olds, again, for shooting us some more super chats. We appreciate that. But if you can, join us live on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and you can join in with the fun, hang out with us a few minutes after the show. And we just have a good time. So thanks, everybody, for joining us as always. Next week, Rob will be back. Hopefully, we'll have a special guest. May or may not. I'm not going to say the name yet, but possibly we'll have a very big guest next week. So not big like this, big like important person, much more so than me or Rob or Craig. Sorry.
No, I know my place.
All right, guys. Awesome. Thanks a lot. We will see you next week. 12 Volt Talk out. All righty. Cool. Well, Craig has got to probably get back to work here soon. But let's see what's going on with the chat room. You guys let me know if I missed any questions.
Well, I want to say there's we need to say happy birthday to Amy. So Brad's better half, who has a phobia of spiders. I'm just putting it out there. Happy birthday, Amy. I've just read that it was your birthday today. So hope you're having a great day.
Yes, Amy, happy birthday. And back to the whole Rockville thing. This is something that I didn't mention because Craig just literally
can't let it go.
He stole the show there with your comment. I need to forward that to them. I'm going to cut the piece of the video out and send it to them. But the one thing I'll say is I still have a few of their subs that aren't blown. I did give one away because they sent me one. Actually, I didn't give that one away. They didn't have them for sale at the time, and I didn't want to have to buy another one or pay $30 to ship the one that I had. So I gave the guy $115 PayPal to go buy whatever he wanted. But anyway, I've had really good luck with the subs. The 10-inch K9 subwoofer in my big SUV, so Toyota Sequoia, huge, full-size, 3-row SUV. The 10-inch with about 1,000 watts is impressive. I mean, literally, sound quality-wise and sound pressure-wise, it is impressive. Yeah, I mean, seriously. So I don't like the core value part either. But the speakers are not bad. They're actually really good.
That's the point. It's the product is the product. The product is like 1,000 other products out there. It's just how that product was represented, how they responded to someone who thought they would try the product. That's where it all went bad from. Like I said, it could have been anyone. So you need to let it go, man.
We'll have them on. We'll have them on here in the future.
So you got me thinking about this old school challenge. I'm thinking more about. I'm thinking about running some XTR3 Orion 15s, or have I got 12s? I think I got 12s. I could do a bunch of them in a box off that 2250 in the Jeep. That wouldn't be hard. You could probably run 4.
The wheels are spinning.
The
wheels are spinning.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, you got a lot of good super chats in here, man. Timothy Lowe, thanks for all the positive comments, mate. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you guys are. We have 77 people watching right now, which is pretty good for the live stream. I think we had 150 when we had EXO on, so we had a little bit more love. But dummy me, I always say big dummy, but I always mean to share the link to the show on Facebook right when we start or right before we start, and I always forget. Always forget.
Hey, what's the EXO stand for in EXO Control Toad? If you anyone, what's all that about?
I'll have to send you the link to his podcast, but it's external, and contralto is the lowest range of a female voice. So it's outside.
Okay, so there's cryptic. All right.
Yeah. And he doesn't need to change his YouTube channel name, but my theory is make your YouTube channel name something that makes sense to your channel, because since I've changed mine from Big D Wiz to Williston Audio Labs,
Yeah.
I've gained about 60,000 subscribers in about
what?
6 months. Yeah.
What? Where do you get these people from?
They
Where are they?
It's boosted posts from Facebook.
Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah.
I got
You got me.
I got really lucky, Craig. I had like 4 videos out of 6 that kind of went viral. I've got one of them, the massive audio sub with the 6,000 watt RMS subwoofer. That one's at 1.8 million views right now. The Gately audio box, it's like 300,000 views or something. So I had a bunch right in a row. I just got lucky.
That's awesome. Well done.
Yeah,
that's so good. Yeah. If only that paid your mortgage off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. People just don't understand how little you get paid from YouTube. I'm not retiring. I'm not buying a Lamborghini. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But I wish I could. Folks, dig what you do. Thank you, sir. Tell Craig to check his subscribers are going up now. There we go.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a big count. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I don't know, Craig, if do you watch Techmoan? He's a guy that does home audio stuff. If you've never seen him, you ought to just watch him. He does a lot of kind of obscure home audio gear, and he does like Walkmans and stuff like that. But anyway, he's got a little counter that's in the back.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it shows
his subscriber count.
He's got like 800,000 now or something. It's crazy. Right.
But let me share something with you. All right, I'm going to share with everyone here who I subscribe to on YouTube. All right, so I'm actually find my subscribers. Okay, there's some Williston Audio Labs dude. All right, never heard of him. Okay, I tell you, this is the sign. This is when you get old. Everyone watching, when you have to lift your glasses up to read something that's close, because I got my phone here. Okay, so in Australia, Jay Standerwick has his own YouTube channel, and if you jump on to my YouTube, you'll know Jay. You'll see him. He's great. He is doing some awesome stuff, and just a lovely, lovely guy. So subscribe to Jay. So yeah, usual Carrot Fab, Williston Audio Labs, PS Sound in the UK. That is a really nice channel. If you like dialogue and really in-depth explanations of the audio systems he does, PS Sound. Now, home audio-wise, because this is when you got me thinking, home audio, I'm a big fan of PS Audio in the USA. It's PS Audio on YouTube. Talk about authentic, just real authentic discussions, question answers, gets questions in from, people around the country, and he'll just read the question out and talk straight up about things that they do, things that have been invented in the past, the whys. It's really nice listening. A whole bunch of other ones I've listened to, but Steve Gutenberg Audiophiliac is another one for home audio. But I tell you, the one I really like at the moment, Hexy Bass. Yeah, right? What a switched on guy. Like, I have to watch his videos 2 or 3 times, and I pause and I just sort of digest, because he compacts so much information and it's so succinct, his summaries, and the way he is describing things really resonates with me, especially when he talks about the small parameters and how they're developed and the types of enclosures you can build. It's, really good stuff. So if you want to have your brain cells expanded, jump onto Hexy Bass. I don't know nothing about the guy. I don't know anything about his product, it's not about that. It's about you have a really good sense of when someone knows what they are talking about, and you go, wow, that's really informative stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he is the chief engineer for gosh,
Audio something?
80,
Audio.
80 Designs.
Yeah.
And we had 80 Designs owner on. It's been a couple months ago, but he talked about Hexabase. His name's Pete Kalicki, and
That's it.
he talked about like Pete can learn how to use a 3D design program in like a couple hours. He's like, I've never been around somebody that's as smart as this guy, and just the things he can do and the things he can process. And like Craig said, if you watch his videos, it's like your mind is blown in 2 minutes. You're like, what did he just say? Pause it, rewind. Oh my God. Yeah, it's just amazing the things he rattles off. And
Yeah.
he, we would love to get him on here sometime in the future. We talked with Aaron at 80 Designs about having him. And I think, we're going to work it out in the future, but yeah, he is a good one. And PS Audio is, Paul, what is his last
That's
name?
it.
McGowan.
Paul McGowan.
McGowan. Yeah.
Really, honestly, it's like listening to your granddad tell you stories. Sit back in your lounge chair and just listen, and it's so nice. He's got such a great warmth about the way he presents, and it's just kind. And if you want something that's not offensive and it's just kind to watch, and you can sit there and learn, and just listening, it's just like switching on the TV. I usually stream it to my TV at home if I'm doing some house chores, and just listen to him. And he just says stuff, and it's just wonderful to listen to. But he has such a depth of the industry knowledge around him, and he brings people on, and he talks about stuff and how amplifiers developed and the circuits in amplifiers. And I love it. Really nice and not offensive. Just something that's nice. And, in today's world, it's nice to have that kind of just gentleness. Yeah, it's a good thing.
I think the first time I found his channel was when I did some research on the Infinity RSV beta towers.
Yes.
He had some of those refurbished, and he's got them in his sound room.
Yeah.
Oh man, that I was looking for the video here to see if I could find it, because it goes back so far. He's got a ton of videos. He must do a couple a week.
Yeah, I wrote a blog on my website about the placebo effect. I do have little blogs I've been trying to write when I find some time. And funnily enough, just, I think it was several months after that I was watching some YouTube, and Paul McGowan was talking about placebo effects as well with respect to, audiophiles buying stuff, believing it's going to sound better, and then you end up spending time listening to your equipment rather than listening to music on your equipment. And I'm not sure how he had defined it as well, but it was really interesting. But I think that I think I summed up, and I'd agree with him, is that the placebo effect's actually okay. It's okay to think that if you think your system sounds better, then awesome to you. That's because that's all that matters, is how you interpret the music. You know what I mean? And if it makes you feel good, that's fantastic. But yeah, look at those speakers. You got them on there now.
Yeah, so these are the Infinity RS
Yes.
RSVs. You can see the one tower here has got the emit mid-range domes and the emit tweeters, and the other one's got 6 12-inch subs, and it's servo powered. And oh my gosh, just drool factor. I can't imagine anybody's wife who would let them have these in their house.
Oh, that would just be, you'd need a whole, yeah, there's a trip to the US. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to go check that room out. I think when these came out, they were like $60,000 originally, and before they ended production, I think they were over 100. I think like 125 grand. But yeah, it came with amplifiers for the 12s. He talks about in this video, look, they've got tweeters even firing toward the rear, so you got some Bose action going on, getting some sound all around you.
Yeah.
Just wicked. But yeah, check out PS Audio and check out the tour of the PS Audio's music room. And he talks about it and talks about some of the changes he had to make and rewiring and refinishing and refoaming the drivers. And you can see one there is actually missing a dust cap. But yeah, fun stuff. Check it out when you get a chance. Alrighty, I'm gonna check one more time here and see if we have any more questions that came up.
MSH68 is asking, in the old school SPL challenge, what class would a 200 watt amp be in?
So the classes are, that will be in class number 3, which is 101 to 250 watts. Again, I'm going to post all this in a place on the old school stereo page will be the easiest place to put all the rules, I think. But we'll also have a Facebook group. So check, we'll link to it from the 12 Volt Talk Show as well, where you can get to the Facebook group. And it'll be a public group so you can join, and it won't be private or hidden or anything. And we'll have all the details there. And we'll talk about, have the links to the shops that are willing to help out with the SPL metering and things like that. If there's any questions you guys have about what year an amp is made, what I planned on doing, what I'm going to try to do is get the directories from 2005 down to like 1995 or so. The amplifier section of them scanned in, so that way you guys can see what your amps are. But I say for now, if you have any questions, just post them in the Facebook group, and we'll look them up if we don't know. Between me, Rob, and Craig, and Brad, and several other people, most of us know when amps were made. Well, before 2000, I do. After 2000, I'm not so good, but we can figure it out and let you know if it fits in the challenge or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. You guys, get ready for it and pick out some equipment. I'm just excited to see what people decide to do.
Oh, Dereck, I've actually got one more question before you sign off. Don't know how to say this, but what's with that bass music choice of yours with Ariana and
don't tell me you're an Ariana hater.
Taylor Swift and
oh my goodness, Craig.
I mean,
we've got to get you in the US so you can understand the vibe. Well, if you don't have your subwoofer system tuned low enough, then you won't understand.
Love it.
So I can't help you there.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you in a little secret, but Rob put me up to that.
I really did. I learned something in life, and I think in people's lives, they will when they reach this point, they have a very good feeling. And if you post videos on YouTube, if you're somewhat of a what would you call it, a public figure on YouTube, you have to be able to take punches.
Yeah.
You have to be able to dodge punches. You have to have thick skin. That don't bother me anymore. I used to care what people thought. And if they say something positive, I care. If they say something constructively criticizing, I care. But if they say something hateful, I just don't care. So.
All right. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret.
Ariana's the best.
No, I'm a big Britney Spears fan. I'm glad you didn't spit your coffee out then. But always have been. All right. And so everyone who's come to the workshop, sometimes I have Britney videos and just music videos playing. I've got a whole playlist of Britney. And I say to everyone who comes to the door, they just look at me and they go, and I just, before they say anything, I say, don't be a Britney hater. Don't be a Britney hater, because there's the door. There's the door. Just keep on walking, buddy.
I have no problem with Britney. I have no problem with Vanilla Ice. I have no problem with anybody I used to listen to that I still like. If it gives me that warm and fuzzy, I listen.
Yeah, man.
Maroon 5, any of those pop bands that.
Okay, you can stop now. Just stop. You're just gone too far now. All right, man.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks, Craig, again for hanging out. we will see you peeps next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.